rafters, a heavy gray cloud. Voices of elders are jagged and loud. Low vibrations in the bones of the room, mandible tight in the gathering gloom. Spilled ale on heavy oak, dark liquid runs. Gray-bearded men talk of dead kings and sons. Shadows are crawling on walls made of pine. Binary logic, the death of the law. Gripping an empty horn tight, knuckles are white in the flickering light. Lowered voices of gray-bearded men, scanning the data again and again. Ash map is drawn on the dirt of the floor, vector of slaughter, the geometry of war. Embers are dying in the central pit fire, calibration of limbs, the climb of the wire. Calcium pillars, the ribs of the hall, waiting for orders, the logic, the call. Femur and fibula locked in the stance, physics survived and the steel is the chance. Code of the Nordic, the marrow is cold. Data of kings in the buried gold. Sign of the axe in a crushing arc. Nerve-ending flare in the ancient dark. Ribs on the cage for the engine of hate. Calibrate bones for the opening gate. Axe is the heart where the wrist is the drive. Only the metal is staying alive. System check running through synapse and vein. Chemical input, the absence of pain. Forgotten king buried in stratum and stone. Radiocarbon on the ancestral bone. Processing whispers of hordes in the ground. Frequency high but there is no sound. Lock the vertebrae, the column is straight. Calculate mass and the carry of weight. Cartilage grinding, the piston is near. Digital dread, the refraction of fear. Tendons are cables, the tension is set. Paying the marrow, the blood is the debt. Code of the Nordic, the marrow is cold. Data of kings in the buried gold. Sign of the axe in a crushing arc. Nerve-ending flare in the ancient dark. Ribs are the cage for the engine of hate. Calibrate bones for the opening gate. Axe is the heart where the wrist is the drive. Only the metal is staying alive. Fade out into black and gray dust. Logic is purity, metal is rust. Scanning the room with the hardened eye lens. Wolf in the darkness, the slaughter begins. Scapula shifting, the shoulder is ready. Oxygen flow is consistent and steady. Calibration, a strike in the skull. Geometry sharp where the blunted is dull. Clavicle stiffens, the impact is mapped. Energy scored and the circuit is trapped. Release the parallel plane of the shield. Data is harvest out on the field. Mandible grinding on teeth made of crypt. Algorithm running, the target is hit. Horde is the server, the gold is the key. Mastering physics of land and of sea. Prebids are watching the mentors of cold. Walking the ancient and terrible road. Blood is the coolant from muscles on fire. Lifting the standard, the burning is higher. Nerves of the Byron, the signal is clear. Total erasure of mercy and fear. Code of the Nordic, the marrow is cold. Data of kings in the buried gold. Sign of the axe in a crushing arc. Nerve-ending flare in the ancient dark. Ribs are the cage for the engine of hate. Calibrate bones for the opening gate. Axe is the heart where the wrist is the drive. Only the metal is staying alive. The system, the mission is locked. Memory banks of the fallen are stocked. Bones in the earth, the foundation is laid. Binary price for the warrior paid. Ash in the air and the smoke on the tongue. Verses of iron and geometry sung. Check one, north is locked. Grid is prime, mountain is stocked.
Static in the marrow, iron in the vein. Calibrating terror, calculating pain, frostbiting through wolf fur, teeth on the hide. Nowhere for the biological target to hide. Needles of ice in the air, piercing the lens, processing the failure where the data ends. Bent pines groaning under the weight of snow. Structural collapse, nowhere left to go.
I see the geometry of light.
I record the ending of the light.
Vector is frozen, axis is done.
I am the daughter, the mechanical sun.
Kill, call, the wind is a clutch on the throat.
The storm is the only note. A trail of fresh footprints instantly erased. Memory deleted, carbon displaced. Frozen breath hanging like smoke in the void. Cellular structure completely destroyed. Nerves firing, binary synapses snap. Caught in the teeth of the Valkyrie trap. Vertebrae clicking like gears in the cold. System is ancient, the hardware is old.
Iron will, iron bones.
Standing on the cliff alone.
Iron will, iron bone.
This is the killing zone. Ocular nerve detecting the glitch, triggering the environmental switch. Femoris cracking, the radius breaks, processing the shiver, processing the quakes. Interface frozen, the protocol fails, driven by the hammer of the northern gales. Connective tissue turning to glass. I will not let the intruder pass.
I see the geometry of white.
I record the ending of the light.
Vector is frozen, axis is done.
I am the daughter, the mechanical sun.
Kill, cold, the wind is a clutch on the throat.
The storm is the only note.
Blood in the circuit, ice in the wire. No thermal reading, no sacred fire. Calibrate the slaughter, Valkyrie daughter. Kinetic energy through zero. No gods, no hero.
Pulmonary valves are starting to seize. Biological units fall to their knees. Brainstem phrasing, the logic is gone. Waiting for the data at the edge of the dawn. Capillaries bursting, the crimson is black. Thermal exhaustion, no turning back. Algorithm perfect, the hills are secure. Nothing is solid, nothing is pure.
I see the geometry of white.
I record the ending of the light.
Vector is frozen, axis is done.
I am the daughter, the mechanical sun.
Kill, cold, the wind is a clutch on the throat.
The storm is the only note.
Scanning the horizon, no. Looking through the stars, no.
Calibration complete.
No. Total defeat, no. Souls on shattered dice, logic demands a sacrifice. Numb fingers curled in iron fists, static crawls through frozen wrists. Marrow dense with binary load, walking down the buried road. Cracking crust on lithic vein, data streams of nerve cell strain. Ligament strain to the core, calibrating ancient war. Ephemeral pressure on the grid, finding where the code is hid. Iron hammer strapped to spine, tracing out the fractal line. Vertebrae in locked array, horizon stained in purple gray. Raven data in the skull, void is never stationary or null. Ribcage cracking in the cold, ancient protocols calls unfold. Geometry of burial mound, input from the frozen ground. Bone and hardware intertwined, leave the limits of the mind. Cartilage grinds on the stone, signal pulse inside the bone. Processing the northern wind where the synapse has been skinned. Atmospheric pressure drops, hot machine, it never stops. Lungs are filled with oxygen debt, coated in a bloody sweat. Sternum holding back the weight, calculating vector state. Scapula and heavy steel, crushing everything I feel. No, 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 no. Crushing everything I kneel. No, 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 no. Crushing the tangential wheel. Smell of snow on dead and tongue. Ancient hardware has been strung. Dendrites firing in the dark, seeking out the central spark. Physics dictate every stride, nowhere left for life to hide. Nerves are cables in the mud, filtering the frozen blood. Knee joints lock in perfect sync, standing on the glacial brink. Skull is just a circuit board, sharpened like a Viking sword. Raven data in the skull, void is never stationary or null. Ribcage cracking in the cold, ancient protocols unfold. Geometry of burial mound, input from the frozen ground. Bone and hardware intertwined, leave the limits of the mind. Arteries at 0 point, grease the gear, increase the joint. Calibration of the breath, logic gate inside of death. Hardware running hot and fast, burial chamber reached at last. Tendon snapping like a wire, fuel the biometric fire. Cranium is leaking bits where the heavy hammer hits. Shoulder blades in rhythmic grind, leaving flesh and pulp behind. Algorithm in the spleen, operating the machine. Blood is just a cooling flow, moving through the deepening snow. Hammer swings in arcs of light, cutting through the day to night. Muscle fiber turns to glass, watching every second pass. Raven data in the skull, void is never stationary or null. Ribcage cracking in the cold, ancient protocols unfold. Geometry of burial mound, input from the frozen ground. Bone and hardware intertwined, leave the limits of the mind. Jaw is locked in iron stasis, back to the primordial basis. Calcium and silicon, until the entire grid is gone. Nerves are dead, the system lives, only what the physics gives. Bone and ash and heavy metal. Wait for the frozen dust to settle. In the dim light glare, scanning the grid from the freezing air. Beady eyes tracking a single moving dot. Hard-coded physics on the burial plot. Shadows sweeping across frozen ground. System parameter silence profound. Wingspan extension, the geometry locks. Scanning the data on shattered rocks. Pelvis is tilting, the balance is gone. Thermal draft rising to carry us on. Calculate death. Me sure the wiki say yes of the day and breath. Shadows are sweeping, I see X-Cans. Ryan models in the richer side dance. Bone and ash in the earthquake breeze. Gods in the code of the victory. Changes back to the code is exposed. Narrow is leaking, the circuitry closed. Candle alignment, the calibration is off. Harsh carbon echo in a cynical scoff. Nerve by the fire and the glitz in the meat. Warrior geometry signing defeat. Blood is the coolant, the pressure is low. Icy transmission in the belly below. Scanning the tibia, counting the cracks. Nothing but data on the foraging tracks. Calculate death. These are the bitchy say yes of a dying breath. Shadows are sweeping the icy expanse. Wall, I am my bells in the rich outside dance. Bone and ash in the surgery. structure is bent. Thermal draft air, read the carbonized scent. Hollowing your sea lights, whistling high. Automatic you play from the war tall sky. Carve off connection is severing raw. Subject is falling to the natural law. Geometric summaries, zero remains. Freezing the fluid in the biologic range. Scarless a vessel for shattered input. Tracked in the path to the prey at his foot. Logic in the swing, I measure the angle, the pick starts to sing. Sparks fly fast from the iron and the flint. Systemic failure in the permafrost print. Frozen clods of dirt raining down on my feet. Binary rhythm in the heart valve beat. Geometry of impact, the hammer finds the mark. Lighting up the data in the ancient dark. Steel edge hacking through the century seal. Grinding down the ice with the weight of the wheel. Dull thud echoing in the hollow mound. Mapping out the veins in the burial ground. Physics of the blow, the kinetic load. Rewriting the lines of the ancestral code. Heavy tool impact, the resonance is deep. Waking up the gears from a century sleep. Crack the permafrost, recalibrate the bone. Calculate the pressure on the burial stone. Break the ribs open, let the marrow ice flow. Physics of the strike in the valley below. Break the seal open, tap the stream leak. Iron in the tendon, strength for the weak. Jack cracks, braiding through the hard drive cold. War gods watching as the truth is unfold. Sweat freezing hard on the ridge of the brow. Calibrating force for the here and the now. Tendons stretching tight like a copper wire. Fueling up the veins with the nerve cell fire. I strike the earth at a fixed degree. Unlocking the vault of the dead pedigree. Bones grinding loud in the shoulder joint. Pressure is mounting at the impact point. No mercy shown to the crystalline wall. Watch the ancient architecture start to fall. Data mining deep in the frozen clay. Stripping all the layers of the history away. Each strike ordered by the skeletal law. Ripping through the ice with the metallic claw. Shatter the silence, shatter the gate. Processing the payload, processing the fate. Track the permafrost, recalibrate the bone. Calculate the pressure on the burial stone. Rip the rims open, let the marrow ice flow. Physics of the strike in the valley below. Break the seal open, at the stream leak. Iron in the tendon, strength for the weak. Jack cracks braiding through the hard drive cold. War gods watching as the truth is unfold. Systemic rupture. Anatomical failure. The seal is bleeding the oxygen out. I hear the ancestors starting to shout. Coordinate, a coordinate B. Unlock the shackles of the chemistry. Nerve fire running through the spinal tract. There is no turning back. Force the lever, force it, break the center. Break it, the data is pure. Make it, the geometry is mine. The jagged cracks spreading through the permafrost skin, letting all the ancient terror begin. The seal is fractured, the barrier is thin. I can feel the high voltage burning within. Iron and muscle, a binary link, pushing the reality over the brink. Rib cage pounding like a rhythm drum. Wait for the moment of the total sum. Heavy tools dropping as the fissure grows wide. There is no place the program, I am the state. Ice shards flying like a digital rain, cutting through the fiber of the memory lane. The seal is broken, the mound is bare. I breathe in the ancient, the poisonous air. Crack the permafrost, recalibrate the bone, calculate the pressure on the burial stone. Rip the ribs open, let the marrow ice flow. Physics of the strike in the valley below. Break the seal open, back the stream leak. Iron in the tendons, strength for the weak. Jack crack spreading through the hard drive coal. War gods watching as the truth is unfold. Is unfold. Calibration complete. The seal is dead, dead. Cold iron remains. Bones iced at a code.
The seal is cracked, the system fails. The stagnant lung of earth exhales. Dry rot hits the nasal nerve. The dead maintain the killing curve. Mortar turns to grey fine powder. The hollow whistle screams out louder. Pitch blackness eats the light of day. The geometry of death will stay. Stone and bone in dark alignment. Broken from the long confinement. Ancient hinges screeching pain. Dust is falling down like rain.
Bones in the dust, bones in the deep.
Physics wake from frozen sleep.
Calibrate the marrow path.
Feel the cold ancestral wrath. Crushing rhythm in the chest.
In the chest.
Ribs lost crews within the test.
Win the test.
Underground the code is set.
Code is set.
Nothing left to feel but threat.
Scan the skull for war priority. Iron proves the Lord's authority. Script the pelvis, read the data. Crawl beneath the fossils. Track the tendons tight as cobble wire. Colder than the funeral fire. Vertebrae in perfect stacks. Sharper than the battle axe. No more vague and empty vows. Only what the flesh allows. Cartilage is hard as steel. Only fractures now are real. Dry blood caked in tea and grooves. Watch how well the dead man move. Crush the light.
Crush the light.
Grind the moan.
Grind the bone.
Claim the right.
Claim the right.
Take the throne.
Take the throne.
Bones in the dust, bones in the deep.
Physics wake from frozen sleep.
Calibrate the marrow path.
Feel the cold ancestral wrath. Crushing rhythm in the chest.
In the chest.
Ribs are screws within the test.
Win the test.
Underground the code is set.
Code is set.
Nothing left to feel but threat. Nerves are fused to the granite floor, counting dead behind the door. Radius and donor aligned, ancient hardware redefined. Smell of dust is choking thick, other systems start to click. No more feelings, no more lies, only static in the eyes. Mathematics in the fist, name is on the killing list. Radius and on aligned, ancient hardware ready for.
Tear the muscle from the frame. Rewrite every frozen name. Spinal column is the key. Bladder logic makes us free. Whistling from the open vein. Time and force of finely spent. Black is swallowing the room. Data flowing from the tomb. Max is ready for the swing. Hear the ancient metal ring. Every nerve is on the grid. Reap the things the fathers did. Bones in the dust, bones in the deep.
Physics wake from frozen sleep.
Calibrate the marrow path.
Feel the cold ancestral wrath. Crushing rhythm in the chest.
In the chest.
Ribs are screws within the test.
Win the test.
Underground the code is set.
till the spark is a spark, feeding the pitch to the throat of the dark. Geometry shifts in the spiral of stone. Granite is scraping the meat from the bone. Are locked in a vertical tight. Friction is feeding the code to the light. 0 point wind in the corridor breath, measuring physics of silence and death. Ribs are a cage for the pressure inside. Nowhere for data or movement to hide. Spine is a pillar of calibrated pain. Cold in the marrow and cold in the veins. Steps in a sequence of binary march, bending the nerves in the mouth of the arch. Input the boot to the gravel and dust. Hardware is grinding through iron and rust. Descend to the roots of the world, into the void where the banners are furled. Calibrate nerve for the crush of the flint. Glory is found in the darkness of hints. I descend to the roots of the world, into the void where the banners are furled. Calibrate nerve for the crush of the flint. Glory is found in the darkness of hints. Reading the pull, crushing the logic inside of the skull. Systemic descent in the absence of air. Tendons are vibrating neural and bare. Elbows are bleeding on granite and grit, mapping the deep where the ancestors sit. Physics of torque in the twist of the hip. Lost its delivery, never a slip. Darkness is raw with its data unread, filling the lungs with the ash of the dead. Interface bone with the floor of the pit. Strike on the hardware until it is lit. I descend to the roots of the world, into the void where the banners are furled. Calibrate nerve for the crush of the flint. Glory is found in the darkness of hint. I descend to the roots of the world, into the void where the banners are furled. Calibrate nerve for the crush of the flint. Glory is found in the darkness of hint. Protocol. Isolate marrow, isolate bone, isolate bone. No wind is howling in here, only the sound of the gear. Frequency 0, pressure extreme. Flesh is the latency, God is the scheme. Geometry swallows the man. Follow the warlord, leap land. Descending the ladder of etch and design. Calibrate rhythm to follow the line. Nerves are a circuit of thunder and heat, sinking the pulse to the hammer ska beat. Shoulders are scraping the physical toll. Systemic compression is taking control. Shadows are long like the reach of a spear. Logic is perfect, I do not have fear. Bone against basalt, a technique or clash, turning the memory dated to ash. Down where the light is a myth in the dark, feeding the pitch to the very last spark. I descend through the roots of the world, into the void where the banners are furled. Calibrate nerve for the crush of the flint. Glory is found in the darkness of hint. I descend through the roots of the world, into the void where the banners are furled. Calibrate nerve for the crush of the flint. Glory is found in the darkness of hint. Spiral is turning, geometry learning. Marrow is freezing, darkness is pleasing, execution complete. End of the street, below the well tree. Data is free.
Breathe in the dust of a dead man's reign. Cold iron links like a heavy-duty chain. No light in the vault, just the logic of the dark. No heat in the marrow, not a single fucking spark. the grid, where the geometry is cold. Zero-sum game, not a gram of the gold. Look at the floor, see the stone base bare. Empty stone sarcophagus, nothing left there. Cobwood thick as a burial shroud, wrapping up the king who was once so proud. Rusted chainmail flaking to the floor. Iron oxide dust, nothing less, nothing more. Calibrate the ribs, see the calcium decay. Physics of the grave takes the muscle away. Data set locked in the curve of the spine. Geometry of death in the horizontal line.
Bone and iron, now go.
Cold and silent, so zero in the pocket, zero in the hand. Just the dust of a broken leg.
Calcium, marrow, nerves and the stone.
The king is just an architecture built out of bone.
No coins for the eyes,
Staring to the void.
the value of the flesh is totally destroyed.
Look at the skull where the signal went dead. Hollow socket staring from the center of the head. No glittering coins in the orbit of the eye. Just the hard data of a biological lie. Nerves turn to wire and the dampen the great calibration error. Now the king is away, rib cage cracked like a hull on the reef. No abstract sorrow, no abstract grief. Just the hard physics of the pressure and the time. Grinding down the marrow to a sedimentary lime. Hardware failure in the vertebrae stack. Iron on the sternum, weight on the back.
Bone and iron, now go.
Cold and silent, so zero in the pocket, zero in the hand. Just the dust of a broken leg.
Calcium, marrow, nerves and the stone.
The king is just an architecture built out of bone.
No coins
For the eyes,
stare into the void. The value of the flesh is totally destroyed. Valkyrie, Valkyrie, judgment.
Valkyrie judgment scanning the room, searching for the valor in the radius of doom. Input empty, output dust. The sword is a system paralyzed by rust. No checks, no jewels, no shining wealth. Just a failure of the cellular health care. The tendons break the lock. The only monarch is a solid rock. Geometry,
Crush,
physics,
crush,
anatomy,
Crush.
The code of the Valhalla is a total hush. Iron dust settles on the femur and the hip. No more commands from the skeletal lip. Encryption of the grave is a permanent seal. Nothing in the chamber but the code of this to rust. Eating links in a systematic crawl. Writing the data on the buried wall. No wealth in the marrow, no currency in vain. Just a residual trauma of the iron and the pain. Pelvis is shattered, the cortex is null. Nothing but the void in the vessel of the skull. Calibrate the end and calculate the loss. Everything is nothing but the layers of the moss.
bone and iron, no go.
Cold and silent,
So
zero in the pocket, zero in the hand. Just the dust of a broken leg.
calcium, marrow, nerves and the stone.
The king is just an architecture built out of bone.
No coins,
For the eyes,
stare into the void. The value of the flesh is totally destroyed.
scanning, no data, no iron and the dust, iron and the rust. Empty base, empty base, empty face, empty face, empty, empty, empty.
Static in the marrow, iron in the lung. Code written in the dead man's tongue. Ribs cracked open like a hollowed out hull. Data leaking from the fracture in the skull. Stranding in the center of the skeletal grid. Lifting up the weight of the limestone lid. Dust in the trachea, salt on the tongue. Ancient algorithms where the moss has clung. Scanning the perimeter, the geometry is cold. Counting up the shards of the hardware old. One single object in the center of the waste. Zero oxidation in the corrugated space. Glowing blue etchings on polished steel. Hardware of the gods that the shadows reveal. A leather wrapped kilt unmarred by time. Binary in the iron, a lethal design. The reflection of the torch flame on the blade. Calculated slaughter in the light and the shade. Runes in the silicon, power in the vein. Weaponized geometry geometry to process the pain. Nerves are firing like the shorted out wire. Circuits in the tendons getting caught in the fire. The sudden urge to reach out and take the grip. Let the deadly interface begin to unzip. Calibrating optics on the edge of the zinc. Every motor neuron is starting to sink. No hesitation in the radius bone. Just the heavy density of carbon and stone. Physics of the swing are programmed in the wrist. Blood is just a liquid in a chemical mist. Data points converging on the point of the spear. A heavy heartbeat pounding in his ears. Glowing blue etchings on polished shield. Hardware of the gods that the shadows reveal. A leather-wrapped hilt unmarred by time. Binary in the iron, a lethal design. The reflection of the torch flame on the blade. Calculated slaughter in the light and the shade. Runes in the silicon, power in the vein. Weaponized geometry to process the pain. Heart is a piston pumping oil to the fist. Name every ancestor on the kill list. Oxygen is burning in the alveoli mesh. Ancient metal merging with the cellular flesh. There is no spirit, only leverage and mass. Shattering the optics like the fragment of glass. Force equals acceleration times the weight. Locking in the coordinates to seal their fate. Cold-blooded processing inside of the brain. Napping out the arteries to open the drain. Scanning for the weakness in the cervical spine. Cutting through the clutter at the bottom of the line. Accented and right, the voltage is peak. Steel is the only dialect I speak. Scraping back the dermis to expose the white node. Executing protocols and running the code. Shield is a barrier, a firewall evoke. Vanishing the enemy in the binary smoke. Clenching on the leather as the knuckles turn gray. Nothing else is living at the end of the day. Glowing blue etchings on polished steel. Hardware of the gods that the shadows reveal. A leather-wrapped hilt unmarred by time. Binary in the iron, a lethal design. The reflection of the torch flame on the blade. Calculated slaughter in the light and the shade. Runes in the silicon, power in the vein. Weaponized geometry to process the pain. Still in the grip. Blood on the edge. Bones in the dirt. Iron in the head.
Pressure is fixed, oxygen levels and nitrogen mixed. Reach for the artifact, scan in the tang. Metal is weighted, the heavy alloy hangs. Palm meets the pommel, the circuitry starts. Cold binary hunger is mapping the parts. Epidermis is searing against the frozen steel. The nervous system forgets how to feel.
Temperature plummets, the mercury falls.
Glitch in the granite,
The geometry stalls.
calcium vibrate, the
Frequency high.
unzipping the biological logic to die.
Contact is triggered, the fuse is unnerved.
Death is a data point rounding the curve.
Shockwave of necrosis, the bone core rewrite.
Killing the thermal, turning off light.
System collapse in the radius of iron.
Tearing the sinew, the cyber-Valkyrian.
Contact is triggered, the fuse is unnerved.
Bending the physics, the skeleton serve. Cartilage crackles, the voltage is gray. Flesh is the heart where the tissues decay. Marrow is freezing, the conduit is wet. Lungs are a vacuum, a biological track nerve and infused with the ancient design. Iron and muscle, the perfect align. Shoulder blade locking, the servals are tight. Scanning the retina, losing the sight. Wrist is a piston, the radius snaps. Biomechanics and necrotic traps. Tendons are cables, they stretch and they tear. Hydrogen freezes, there's ice in the air.
Tri-ribs are sliding, dust in the trachea, software is guiding.
High pitch the signal, the cochlea bleed. Planting the corpses, the binary seed. Dry bones are shifting, the alignment is true. Calibrate cadavers, the militant cue.
Contact is triggered, the fuse is unnerved.
Death is a data point rounding the curve.
Shockwave of necrosis, the bone core rewrite.
Filling the thermal, turning off light.
System collapse in the radius of iron.
Tearing the sinew, the cyber red. Wake up the system, reanimate dead. Phalanges are gripping the calibration. It's the ancient technology, vengeful dread. Stirring is cracking, the caustic is strong. Measuring atoms for flesh, used to belong. Blood is the cool in the veins of the pipe. Harvesting matter, the target is right. Spine is the antenna where pulses with blue. Killing the living, starting the new. Still is a membrane charred by the blade. This is the geometry the empire remade.
Grip the skill.
Let the necrosis reveal. Fix the anatomy still. Forget everything that was real.
Physics is broken, the entropy wins.
Where the skin ended, the iron begins.
0 degrees in the center of bones.
Sitting forever on a digital throne.
Iron slips from the grip of my fist. Blackness swallows the edge in the mist. Fingers tremble on cold leather braid. He takes the steel, he is holding my blade. I feel the vacuum where geometry ends. 0% on the lighted defense. Pressure is mounting in cervical spine. Processing threats in the linear line. Calculating the friction of the granite floor. He is the lock on the exit point door. Oxygen levels are dropping in chest. He is the system, the ultimate test. Silhouette blocking the way to the sky. Pale blue light in the hole of the eye. Skeletal monarch is climbing the throne. Scraping the edge of the rock with the bone. 2 points of cyan in hollow terrain. Burning the data inside of my brain. Burning the data, binary pain. He is the physics, the unyielding law. Death is the syntax inside of his jaw. Listen, the horrifying crack of the wrist. Joints snapping back to the list that exists. Ligaments stretching like cables of wire. Vertebrae clicking to feed the desire. Hardware is grinding on calibrated dust. Femur is breaking the centuries of rust. Radius rotates a perfect degree. Locking the logic of what I can't see. Neural pathways are firing in red. Tracking the motion of ancient undead. Anatomy shifts in the mechanical grind. Physical horror in darkness defined. Guttural sound from a throatless old neck. System is failing, a total shipwreck. Air is vibrating through hollows of ribs. Feeding the darkness with violent fibs. No vocal cords, just the echo of void. Every defense in the shield is destroyed. An audio frequency shattering glass. Waiting for glory but nothing will pass. Total eclipse of the pulmonary vein. He is the ruler of physical pain. Silhouette blocking the way to the sky. Pale blue light in the hole of the eye. Pale blue light. Skeletal monarch is climbing the throne. Scraping the edge of the rock with the bone. 2 points of cyan in hollow terrain. Burning the data inside of my brain. Burning the data, binary pain. He is the physics, the unyielding law. Death is the syntax inside of his jaw. Phalanges are wrapping the hilt of the sword. King of the marrow, the skeletal lord. Override functioning limbs in the gloom. I am the data assigned to the tomb. Calibration of terror is reaching the peak. Nettle on netter, carpole will creak. Kinetic energy stored in the fist. Name is deleted from living man's list. Synapse is failing, the signal is weak. Blood is the only component to leak. Shield is a circuit that broke in the coal. Now the loose sequence of iron the hull. Scraping of bone of of the pale blue glare, death in the frozen air. Roar through the hollow node, crack in the human code. Roar through the hollow node, crack in the human code.
Steel is whistling through the air, friction burn upon the hair. Calibrating wrist and joints, seeking out the pressure point. Geometry of fractured ribs, data leak from broken cribs. Tend to snap and cold or fast, they'll come make the solder last. I scan the fury, deadened out the physics of the weighty guys. Hero comes, he needs pure speed, the only logic that we need. Precision tool of heavy, high and roaring like a metal lion. Its femur holds against the weight, opening the Valhalla gate.
Ancient days and broken chains. Battle logic, deadly battle. See you in the Valhalla. Pushing down some septic steel. Grinding down the cheap or steel. Calling binary and killing by a song design.
The jerky moving of the arm, the hardware shielding no more harm. Sparks are flying off the wall, granny dust begins to fall. The current generating higher blade are cutting through the sky. Nerve and fire, electric blue. The dead man coming after you. He swings a storm, a heavy blur. The system gives a mechanical purr. Narrow freezing in the cold. The binary script is now for no. Logic gates are swinging wide, no relief for me to hide. This radius and on alive, resistant to the battle shock. I see the empathy, the low, the cycle ring, the worry cold. High above the frozen mist, I watch the flicker of his wrist. The frame rate of the dead is wrong, too fast. For any mortal song, he twitches with the slider step. A promise that the all for the cap. Still it's screaming hyper fast. Shadows of the frozen past. This in it firing, copper wire. Feeding on the funeral fire. He spins upon the Tyrian's heel. The arm holding by the shining steel. The granite wall is scarred and torn. I'm the pinnacle god is newly born. The blade is heavy as the lead. The process and power of the dead. It passes through the frozen air. Cold grind, cloying up my head. Evacuate to on the jewel. The undead, then we get the roll. He strikes it red, sparks ignite. Action in the endless night. The record damn by let it express. Watching as the vibe collapses. Note the season, a metal call. The punching blast so forth is warm. He reboots the killing's right. Metal people form this fight. It all gets perfect, 90 tag. Blood is breaking on the cat.
Falling open veins, ancient gears and broken chains. Logic, deadly battle. See you in the Valhalla. Emotions set in steel. Grinding down the cheap wood steel. Calling binary again. Killing by a zombie song. Bone, iron cold core. Bone, iron cold core. Dum 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 dum. the iron edge, crushing impact on the limestone ledge. Splintering within the optic view, geometry locked in the strike comes through. Shockwaves travel the ulnar nerve, deadly kinetic initial curve. Creeding the molars to hold the line, cracking the code of the grim design. Bone and iron, axis shift, raven data, cerebral gift, torquing the tendon, forcing the wall, stay in the system, never to fall. Left arm shudders, a binary jolt, locking the elbow, the piston bolt, jarring the marrow and humeral shaft, reading the geometry, reading the craft. Copper is leaking on tongue in the gum, metallic vibration, the rhythm is numb. Toxic the saliva and heavy the breath, scanning the radius, bordering death. Pressing the spine to the granite and dust, dodging the point of the lethal thrust. Thrust comes in at a 40-degree, calculating physics, the reflex is free. Inches of mercy, the steel passes by, air pressure dropping, the binary cry. Skin on the knuckles is stripped to the meat, friction is rising and generating heat. Back to the tomb, all the friction is cold, system is ancient, the hardware is old. Bone and iron, axis shift, raven data, cerebral gift, torquing the tendon, forcing the wall, stay in the system, never to fall. Vertebrae grinding on prehistoric stone, calibrating power in the density of bone. Left arm is failing, the signal is weak. Search to the open, the data is bleak. Copper and off is the taste of the kill. Iron on iron and iron on will. Ligament stretching like cables of wire. Oxygen burning the cellular via. Splintering oak on the radial phase, loss of the shield in the physical space. Scraping the tune with the desperate lunge, muscle and fiber beginning to sponge. Toss near the carotid, the vector is near, purging the chemical signature fear. Grid of the battle is locked in the brain, turning the sensor to ignore the pain. Bone and iron, axis shift, raven data, cerebral gift, torquing the tendon, forcing the wall, stay in the system, never to fall. Data is bleeding.
Heavy, the footfall, the metric of war. Lattice of calcium deep in the core. I am the hardware, the ossified frame. Ancient encryption, no human name. Every step forward, the data is clear. I am the vacuum, the absence of fear. Iron on iron, the thoracic design. Shield, null, geometry holding the line. Petrified ribs, an ancient array. 0% vulnerability blocking the way. Processing violence, a logic of ice. Every collision, a calculated price. My marrow is frozen as silver with frost. Winning the convict regardless of cost. Axes and vectors, the yoke and the blade. This is the structure the dog have made. Mechanical tenants, a fibrous machine. Cold as the system, the ghost in the clean.
Unyielding bone, the hardened code. March on the dead in a relentless mode.
Calibrated ribcage, stone in the chest. Putting the kinetic force to the test. No data for pain, no signal for grief. Ancient geometry, bringing no relief. Petrified lattice, the skeleton key. Crushing the physics of what you can see.
What you see?
Your fist makes connection, a strike on the rock. My structural integrity absorbs every shock. Force distribution through pivoting spine. Ignoring the impact, the victory is mine. Impact velocity drawn on the stone. I cannot register pity or groan. Lyrical dislocates a sickening sound. I am the gravity keeping the ground. Shatter the matter, call the breaking the man. I am the output, the execution plan. Systematic advancement, the piston of me. You are the error, the failed degree.
Unyielding bone, the hardened code. March on the dead in a relentless mode.
Calibrated rip cave stone in the chest. Putting the collective force to the test. No data for pain, no signal for grief. Ancient geometry, bringing no relief. Petrified lattice, the skeleton key. Rushing the basics of what you can see.
What you see? False ceiling trembling, the debris descends.
My forward momentum, it never quite ends.
Cranial vault and armored control.
Zero abstraction, I have no soul.
Synovial fluids, a lubricant crease.
There is no surrender, there is no peace.
Only the marrow, only the nerves.
Staying the course that the ancient gods serve. Physics around us, the metaphor grind, leaving the vulnerable humans behind. Axial loading the vertebrae stack. There is no reversal, there is no back. Your fist is the Cassian spark in the flame. I have the vision, your survival is gain. Relentless, the age of the Valkyrie drive. It is mathematical, I am not alive. Calibration of terror, a systematic march. Walking beneath the victorious arch. My rift cage is petrified, ancient array. Ossified monolith ruling the day.
Unyielding bone, the hardened code. March on the dead in a relentless mode.
Calibrated brick cave stone in the chest. Putting the kinetic force to the test. No data for pain, no signal for grief. Ancient geometry, bringing no relief. Petrified lattice, the skeleton key. Crushing the physics of what you can see.
What you see?
Step 101, binary blood. Walking through ashes, walking through mud. Step 101, march of the dead. Ignoring the warning, the words that you said.
Structural integrity.
Final command.
I am.
The monolith taking the land.
Defenses broken and cold, discarding the frame in the shattered hold. No more lindenwood protecting the ribs. The system is failing in the crypt and the cribs. Leather gloves lighten on the thick old calf, calibrating the grip with a murderous craft. Friction is data in the palm of the hand. I am the program reclaiming the land. Tendon the ligament, locking the gear. Neural pathways erasing the interference of fear. Bone marrow burning with the ancient code. Heavy iron carrier on a one-way road. Planting heavy boots into the dirt. Internal kinetics ready to exert. Compressing the atmosphere deep in the chest. Lungs expanding for the ultimate test. Iron head resting on the shoulder blade. Binary access of an ancient fate. Axial torque in the readiest bone. King of the circuit on a granite throne. Calibrated violence in the system core. Opening the data of an eternal war. Radius and loader aligned for the shock. Anchoring the flesh to the burial rock. I raid the trajectory of shattering skull. The information in the room is never dull. Kinetic energy stored in the thigh. Calculating angles where the enemies lie. Voltage is spiking in the central nerve. Mapping the path and the killing curve. Metacarpal clamping on the heavy stem. I am the algorithm breaking them. Synchronized pulse in the carotid stream. Waking the function from a frozen dream. No abstract mercy in the white of the eye. Only the physics of how they will die. Cartilage honing to weather the strain. Signal processing the absence of pain. Input the trauma and output the dust. And the logic of iron and impact we trust. Iron head living and dead. Phalanges pounded to the grain of the wood, executing orders like a warlord should. Scapula shifting underneath the skin, let the subroutine of destruction begin. Diaphragm dropping for the intake of air, and distillate pressure that the room cannot bear. Hamstrings coiling like a tension spring. Hear how the hollows of the chamber ring. Total system overrider, every cell coding the pathway to a physical hell. Crush the sequence, break the frame. Iron and calcium is the only reason. Terminate the shield and not to beat the bone. I am the hardware on the dorsal. Strike.
Whistles past the cranial wall. Ragnar moves shadow fast, standing tall. Calibrated motion on the frozen ground. Zero friction, slip not a single sound. Steel swings wide in a deadly arc, cutting through the static of the ancient dark. Axis rotates on a perfect line. Combat geometry by dark design. He drops the center of the total mass,
Watching
the lethal swing of iron pass,
torquing.
the tendons of the heavy arm.
Safety disabled on the physical harm.
Fingers locked tight on the ashwood shaft. Dead man missed with his killing craft. Gravity pulls to the hammerhead. Target locked to the living dead. Potential energy turns to kinetic force. Logic gates open on the bloody course. Kinetic velocity hits the peak, grinding the hinge of the jawbone creep. Velocity multiplied by total weight, closing the loop on the drag of fate. Iron descends from the frozen sky,
Harder.
then the glance of the Valkyria.
Crunch of the calcium exploding loud. Bone shots fly like a shrapnel cloud. Blue light extinction in the optic hole. System delete of the dead control. Fragments of occipital wind blown wide. No more data in the hollow inside. Crush the matrix of the ancient shell. Send the hardware to the bottom of hell.
Centurio bone turns to powder and grip. Maximum damage on the direct hit. Shockwave travels down the spine column track. Vertebrae splinter in the rib cage is crack. Bone marrow frozen like a dead coolant leak. Skeleton structural integrity is weak. Nerve bundles shatter under iron weight. Termination of the undead state. Physics of the impact within the mesh. Separated ligament from shriveled up flesh. Force vector driving through the cranial floor. Locking down the exit of the internal door. Displaced dust in a spherical wave. Rise in from the mouth of the shattered grave. Particles suspended in the stagnant air. Static electricity is everywhere. Visual data shows the fracture is deep. Ancient cortex takes a final sleep. Input signals at a permanent zero. Judgment recorded by the Valkyrie hero. Binary collapse of the fighting frame. Removing the entry of the Draugr day. No more motion in the articulating joint. Final calculation at the impact point.
Crunch of the calcium exploding loud. Bow sharks fly like a shrapnel cloud. Blue light extinction in the optic hole. System delete of the dead control. Fragments of occipital wind blown wide. No more data in the hollow inside. Crush the matrix of the ancient shell. Send the hardware to the bottom of hell.
Scanning the site of the biological break. Monitoring the shiver of the frozen lake. Impact velocity recorded and stored. Judgment delivered by the hammer and lord. Anatomical failure is absolute and clean. Nothing is left of the killing machine. Recalibrating the ascent to the whole. Watching the ancient machinery fall. Internal pressure blows the sinuses out, and in the echo of the silent shout, femur and pelvis lose the struggle. structure rope on, sink into the blackness of the great beyond. Cartilage tearing from the socket and pin, iron cold justice on the ancient sin. Shockwave rippling through the tattered decay, turning all the frozen history to gray. Calcium shrapnel cutting into the snow. No, I left for the geometry to the crunch of the calcium exploding loud. Bone shards fly like a shrapnel cloud. Blue light extinction in the optic hole. System delete of the dead control. Fragments of occipital wind blown wide. No more data in the hollow inside. Crush. Crush.
Heaving the shoulders, I reboot the lung. Oxygen data, the bitter on tongue. Sweat stings the eye, the optics are blurred. Marrow is shaking, no signal is heard. Metallic tang surges, adrenaline fade. Nerves are vibrating, the logic is laid. I stand on the femur, the pile of the dead. Hardware is pumping the fuel line of red. Bones are the architecture, physics is law. Calibrate violence, the steel in the jaw. Grinding the vertebrae, passing the screen. I am the ghost in the heavy machine. Heavy machine. Iron and cold, the geometry bleeds. Calibrate strength for the system it needs. Crushing the fracture, the data of bone. Viking machine on the pedestal, stone on the stone. Cracking the skull, the encryption is through. Bottle the trauma, the bone marrow do. Marrow do. Spine is a column of hardware and grit. Logic of impact, the temples are split. Calculating velocity, hammer is down. Resting the iron on white bone and brown. Hammerhead sitting on granite and grit. Circuits are dark and the fuses are lit. Tendons are snapping like cables of wire. Lungs are exhausting the carbon and fire. Ribs are the cage for the cylinder pump. Deep in the dark where the carcass is dump. No one is breathing, the system is null. I see the data inside of the skull. Side of the skull. Iron and cold, the geometry bleeds. Calibrate strength for the system it needs. Crushing the fracture, the data of bone. Viking machine on the pedestal, stone on the stone. Cracking the skull, the encryption is through. Bottle the trauma, the bone marrow do. Marrow do. Synapses firing, the circuit is deep. Calcium shrapnel, the harvest I reap. Hard drive is heavy with weight of the kill. Absolute zero, the air is so still. Nerves are recording the impact and heat. Scraping the marrow out under my feet. Physics of pressure, the joint is a hinge. Sweat on the eyelid, the acid extend. Anatomy mapping, the breach is complete. Flesh is the layer of ancient deceit. Unyielding the lever, the arm is a crane. Processing output, the logic of pain. Beyond the warlord, a binary war. Crushing the pelvis onto the floor. Data is leaking from artery walls. Waiting for reboot in ancestral halls. Iron and cold, the geometry bleeds. Calibrate strength for the system it needs. Crushing the fracture, the data of bone. Viking machine on the pedestal, stone on the stone. Cracking the skull, the encryption is through. Bottle the trauma, the bone marrow do. Marrow do. Rested hammerhead, rested on the stone. On the bone, on the bone, on the bone. Calibration ends. Silence overwrites. Darkness in the nerves. Kill
hear it ribs on the granite floor. Hardware is pulsing with the metal core, bruising the steel of that unseen code, carrying the data on the victor's road. Calcium is cracked where the oxide bleeds, serving the logic of the warrior's needs. Iron is binding to the scapula blade, killing the static in the burial shade. Tendons are tightening in orbital slots, tying the nerve in the telemi trinots. Pelvic geometry is fixed in lock, system is booting and the metal is shot.
Pale cold luminescence is cutting the dark.
Steel in the morrow is leaving its mark.
Magnetic pull on the frontal lobe net.
Calibrating physics for the killing subset.
Pale cold luminescence is cutting the dark.
Steel in the morrow is leaving its mark.
Magnetic pull on the frontal lobe net.
Calibrating physics for the killing subset. Hum of the metal is vibrating the ground. Frequency is rising with the furious sound. Hilt is untouched by the structural fails, shining in the tomb like a digital hail. And nodes are glowing in ephemeral space, hardened in the substance of the warrior race. Hexes and symbols are memory files, burning in the darkness for 1,000 miles. Carbon and coppering the conduit vein, modulating power through the physical pain. Neural connection is a binary law. Steel is the tooth in the predator jaw.
Pale cold luminescence is cutting the dark.
Steel in the morrow is leaving its mark.
Magnetic pull on the frontal lobe net.
Calibrating physics for the killing
Pale
subset.
cold luminescence is cutting the dark.
Steel in the morrow is leaving its mark.
Magnetic pull on the frontal lobe net.
Calibrating physics for the killing subset. Tendos in the grip of the hand,
Modify the fist.
ikes up the frozen land,
Shadows are dancing.
sing on the curved wall,
Runes are in the circuit.
and the circuit won't fall. Voltage and the vertebrae as we sing to pizza. Word is the metal, but the flesh is so we get it. Is the what one and the rep on is one. Finish the algorithm that war has begun. Geometry shifting in the lumbar zone. Metal is the master of the calcified bone. Vector of the strike is a dig it out stream, higher than the frequency of anyone's scream. Scanning the whole priest unfold the target to break. Iron is the only thing the shadows can take. Clash is fused with the alloy and ash, rigging for the moment of a kinetic clash. Arteries are pumping with the static of a beating down being a Mayan beating the odds. Steel is perfection, the steel is a light, ending the corruption
Of the primitive law. Pale cold luminescence is cutting the dark.
Steel in the morrow is leaving its mark.
Magnetic pull on the frontal lobe net.
Calibrating physics for the killing subset.
Pale cold.
Hail call!
Cold mud, hard blood, iron grid, red flood. System check, 1, 2. System check, rise through. Boots hit the ground like a hammer on the ice. Calculating death and I never pay the price. Ribs are the casing for a pump made of lead. Scanning all the data on the bodies of the dead. Tendon is a cable with the high tensile strain. Hardware rebooting in the center of the brain. Kneeling in the cinder where the gravity is dense. Geometry of violence is the only defense. Calc and calibration in the structure of the knee. Processing the tactical reality I see. My nerves are fibered optics in a jacket of skin. Tracing every circuit where the slaughter will begin. Fingers closing over the cold leather grip. Neural link established on the interface strip. Jolt of freezing energy shooting up the arm. Internal sensors triggering the warpath alarm. Unnatural strength moving deep inside the frame. Physics of the blade turning shadow into flame. Weight of the iron feeling impossibly light. System calibration for the end of the night. Dome marrow density is spiking to the max. Running the algorithm aimed at the axe. Vertebrae stacking like a tower made of stone. Biomechanics in the marrow of the bone. Blood is the coolant running thick and running slow. Monitoring vitals while the output starts to grow. Cranium is shielded by a carbon fiber plate, vectoring the entry at the enemy gate. Lungs are the bellows for the engine in the chest, calculating impact at the sternum and the breast. Hardwire fury. Synapses firing like a piston in the dark, leaving on the battlefield a digital mark. In the static of the whole universe, no regret detected in the optical lens, processing the target with a logic ends. Cold power, cold power. Dirt on the maxilla, grit on the jaw, executing protocols of predator law. Bring smile cracking on the dirt cake face, removing every error from the human race. Muscle is a binary, a contract and release, terminating vitals so the static can't cease. Wrist is a bearing with the rotation of fire, connecting the ground to the high voltage wire. Scars of the etchings of the previous build, watching how the prophecy is finally fulfilled. Iron will sinking, standing in the crater while the data points bleed, satisfying every single primitive need. Fingers closing over the cold leather grip, neural link established on the interface strip. Jolt of freezing energy shooting up the arm, internal sensors triggering the warpath alarm. Unnatural strength moving deep inside the frame, physics of the blade turning shadow into flame. Weight of the iron feeling impossibly light, system calibration for the end of the night.
On the marrow bone, I stand upright on a floor of stone. No more mercy in the logic gate, only the physics of a frozen fate. Into the biting wind, the flesh is breaking with the iron grin. A heavy stone door left open to the ice. The ancient geometry requires a price. The glow of the runes reflecting in his eyes, calculating trajectories of how a soldier dies. Calibration stable in the tendon line, power surging through the frozen spine.
Crushing the valley with a thunderous weight,
feeding the marrow to the runs of hate.
Axe in the radius, bolted to the grip.
Watch the reality and senses slip.
Blood in the circuit, ice in the vein.
Only the geometry of ancient pain.
No compromise and no defeat.
The heart is a drum with a militant beat. Processing the code within the rib cage wall, scanning for the targets that are bound to fall. Bone density increased by the barrel code, system rebooting on the warrior road. The ravens waiting silently in the dead trees, observing the data on the northern breeze. Carbon fiber tendons pulling on the joint, everything is sharpened to a killing point. Sinking the vision of the helmet glass, watching the shadows of the centuries pass. Nerve and fusing to the leather wraps, bringing the trigger on the battle trap. Scanning the horizon for the heat sign, mapping the conquest of the northern line. Every single impact is a binary hit in the dark void where the torches are lit.
Crushing the valley with the thunderous weight,
feeding the marrow to the runs of hate.
Axe in the radius, bolted to the grip.
Watch the reality and senses slip.
Blood in the circuit, ice in the vein.
Only the geometry of ancient pain.
No compromise and no defeat.
The heart is a drum with a militant beat. Kneel to the static of the ancient king. Hear how the edges of the metal sink. Kneel to the static of the ancient king. Hear how the edges step toward a never-ending war. I in the breach within the double door. Kinetic energy stored within the side. I'm in the pixels of a shattered sky. Pressure is rising in the skull plate steam. Living the nightmare of a digital dream. No more oxygen, just suffering ash. Wait for the moment of the physical crash. Jade is bleeding from the open wound. To the frequency of slaughter I am tuned. Scanning the marrow for a trace of fear. Nothing but the clicking of the metal gear. I am the hour with a made of frozen need. Marching to the rhythm of a total defeat. The prophecy is written in a dead language. Carrying a weight of the ancestral damage.
Crushing the valley with a thunderous weight.
Feeding the marrow to the runs of hate.
Axe in the radius, bolting to the grip.